Hi everyone and welcome to PhotoWalk Pro Tutorials. My name is Jeff and today's tutorial is on reflections. This is a technique that has been made extremely popular by Apple. It's all over the website. You can't look at an iPhone or an iPod that doesn't have that glossy reflection underneath it. So I'm going to quickly show you how to do this. This is my PhotoWalk Pro logo right here, and you can see I've also done the real hip reflection thing to that. So let's go ahead and get started and I'll show you actually how to do this. I've got an image ready to roll here. I'm going to go ahead and open up my layers palette, and you can see that the phone, I've already separated it off. It was just on a white background. I went ahead and selected it and put it on its own transparent background. It just makes the technique a lot easier in my opinion. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select that layer that has the phone on there, and then I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that layer, and I'm going to do that by clicking on Command J on my keyboard. You can use Control J on the PC, and I'm sure you all know that by now, so I'm really not going to say it anymore. Alright, now that I've got that created, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to transform this layer. That's the next step. So to do that, I'm going to hit Command T, and that puts the transformation box around it. And then I'm going to go ahead and hold the Control key down. Now this is a right click for PC. See, I didn't say Command or Control. This is a right click for PC, but it does the same thing. It pulls up this free transform menu, and I'm going to go ahead and select Flip Vertical. Okay, and it gives me an upside down version of my phone. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this down to get my reflection. Now to do this, I'm just going to hold down the shift key because that keeps everything aligned as I move it up and down. And then I'm just going to click and drag this straight down underneath my phone. And I'm going to actually have it just a little bit over top of it. Oh, now see, I messed it up a little bit there. I'm going to move it back over this way. There we go. Okay, to complete the transformation, just to go ahead and double click inside the box and it'll finish it. Now I'm going to go ahead and drag this layer underneath my top layer just so that the phone sits on top of the reflection. Okay, next step is to add a layer mask. And the layer mask sits down here at the bottom of the layers palette. You just click on this little button right there and it throws a little white mask on there. Now the white mask is going to help us get that fade because the reflection right now doesn't look like much of a reflection. I mean, we can drag the opacity down, but to really get the effect, and this is what Apple does on theirs, and it really does make it nice, is you want to fade that reflection. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the gradient tool. I'm going to go ahead and click on the gradient tool. Make sure you have your default color selected, which default is black and white in Photoshop. So just hit the D key and that'll select your default colors. Make sure you have your linear gradient selected up here at the top, and you do in fact have a black and white gradient. If you've used a different color gradient up here, it could mess up a little bit. So just make sure you have the white to black. Then all we're going to do is we're going to come over here, and while we've got this mask selected, we're going to go ahead and kind of paint on the mask with a gradient. We're just going to click from the bottom of the correct phone down to the bottom of the page down here. We're just going to click and drag, and what that's going to do is it's going to give us a white to black fade, and the black is actually going to mask part of the phone. So now you can see, now if you don't like where it is, you can actually drag shorter. If you want a little bit shorter fade or a little bit shorter reflection, drag a little longer. You can just keep playing with this until you get the look that you want. Now that's about right for me. I think that's pretty good. Now you go back up to your opacity and you take that opacity down because the reflection shouldn't be as bright as the top part. So now you've got that right about there, and there you go. That's how you make that. Now you could do a bunch of different things on here. You could actually put a layer underneath here. Let's go ahead and command click and put a layer underneath there, and I'm going to get my marquee tool here, and let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and just drag a marquee on top here, and then you can do a fill on that. Let's see here. Let's try that one. There you go. And then Alt-D. Okay, and then you've got a background on there, and you can do some other things too. You can take your marquee tool. Let's get the elliptical marquee tool, and let's drag out a little like that. There we go. And I've already got a feather up here selected at 50 pixels. I'm going to hit backspace, and there you go. Put a little spotlight on there, and so now we've got our reflection, got it on our background, got a little background light on there, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Now the other things you can do is you can actually add a little drop shadow underneath here. You can do a couple of different things. I think Apple probably puts a drop shadow underneath theirs. That's pretty simple to do. Actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and show you how to do that real quick too. I'm going to go ahead and select my top phone here. I'm going to duplicate that layer again. That's Command J, duplicate that layer. And then there's a bunch of different ways to do this. This is the way I do it. I just click my outside area because it's transparent. It selects all the pixels. I use the magic wand. And then I'm going to go up here and hit Command Shift I to reverse the selection there. And I'm just going to fill that. My default colors. I'm going to fill that with black. Okay, I'm going to deselect. I'm going to go up here to my filter menu and I'm going to blur this. So I'm just going to use a Gaussian blur. And I'm just going to blur that out, and that's 3.3 pixels, 3.6, something like that. That looks pretty good. Okay, now the other thing I can do here is I can Command T, and I'm going to transform this. I'm just going to make this a little bit larger, just like that. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it behind my phone. Okay, now you can see it's off just a little bit. I can move that over, just hit the V key for my move tool and just kind of center it on there. All right, now here's the key to this. Come over here and get your eraser tool, get a nice soft brush, and just erase the rest of that background because you don't want the drop shadow around the whole thing. You just want it kind of just right underneath the phone, and just kind of drop it like that. There we go. And there you go. That kind of finishes off the technique. So there's our phone with our little reflection, a little drop shadow, and there you go. Simple as that. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.